you've mentioned about three major security threats that we have in Nigeria. You mentioned armed robbery, you mentioned terrorism, you also mentioned banditry. Now, it's not as if they're existing in different spaces. And I think this is something that as Nigerians we need to realize. They are operating in the same space. So if you go to, let's say, a local government, you are likely to find all of these threat elements together. Now, if you now go deeper to look into the drivers, what are the reasons why those things started, you will find out that the drivers are subgrouped into basically four: political, economic, social, and environmental. And you can wrap all of that under one subheading, which is governance. Some would say governance deficit. Now, in a situation where you have governance deficit, and then you now have these four drivers that I've mentioned: the political, the social, the economic, and the environmental. If you use force alone, most bandits, you now deal with them using force and with the support of those ones that are on the borderline. So in a nutshell, this is why non-kinetic measures are very important. They enhance the buy-in. At the moment, if you talk to our security forces, almost all of them, they will tell you their major challenge is the lack of buy-in from the local.
The security experts are saying is that, well, you see, there are reasons that these things happen. And so we dialogue. I think dialoguing with them, as opposed to negotiating with them. First of all, you will also comment.
Step in achieving quote unquote a negotiation is to dialogue. In other words, you can't negotiate. It's commendable as it were, but of course there are challenges. In academic terms, especially the UN, it has done a lot. Like I said, the 12 steps were not followed, but we're hoping that as we progress, the federal and state government will conclude on those 12 steps.
Yet you say the citizenry identifies them, and I think
bandage.
Okay.
What I implied. Bandage.
Okay.
What I implied is that they are coerced. It's implied is that they are coerced. It's a case is that they are coerced. It's a case of this represent these Fulanis. And the most conservative response I got was there are from the rest of the about 10 million. From the rest of the about 10 million. If you treat all of them as one, you'll be killing innocent Nigerians. I need to look inwards and that critical question: is our justice system being fair? Is the administration of criminal?
Yes.
Dr. Adam.
Yeah. I appreciate the questions you asked and the clarification as if we have guarantees. If these guys are known, and by any means anyone is willing to accommodate engagement, and they are killing our soldiers, and then human rights people will now hold the soldiers responsible that they kill the
system should arrest offenders irrespective of their identity. Now, the challenge, I think, that when we speak about identity, the challenge, I think, that when we speak about regions, is that nobody is held accountable. People died in Katsina. They entered a mosque. They slaughtered people. But
stick away. It accounts down to political decisions that shape our world.
This country must move.
CEO of Beacon Consulting and he's been helping us to try and understand what is meant when we talk about a kinetic approach, in particular.
And before you even begin the process of dialogue and negotiation with them. So again, it's a structured process of
sub-politicians, not by any means all sub-politicians, not by any means all of them, that they need political thugs, and they need political thugs, and once they're done with them and they move on
be through intermediaries, layers of intermediaries, layers of intermediaries, for instance, before you can decipher that relationship. And he wants to enjoy the proceeds of that criminality. Then the outcome of that, the consequence of that, will be disastrous for the future of this country.
As in, when their hands are no more, as in, when their hands are no more, when the hands are empty, so to speak, because the political season has passed, and when the hands are empty, so to speak, because the political season has passed, and these people now look for other means, and oftentimes those other means are banditry, and oftentimes those other means are banditry and everything. Well, Dr. Abdullah.
Indirectly, this bid will be overheating or will be oversizing this crime and criminality, because it's a form of act of criminality committed against humanity and the rural community.
But if I understood you rightly, there would have to be some amendment to that perspective, because you can break the law, but we're not talking in a straightforward black and white case here, is one of the things that we sort of spoke about. Do you think the law has the capacity to bend over in that way? Because might it not seem as if the law is being asked to bend over backwards to accommodate perhaps a national quest for a solution for a seemingly intractable problem?
So I don't think the point I made earlier on was to amend the law. I was referring to the administration of criminal justice, and I'm sure Dr. Shinkafi would relate with what I am saying, and especially anyone who has lived in the villages and see how some of the judges have administered the law. I'll give you instances where maybe a herder, and this is the worst case scenario, where someone, if a minor case involving probably, the trampling of crops, and it turns into a chain of extortion, where the individual in question will have to sell assets just to, meet the needs of individuals within that criminal justice system. So that's the point I was making earlier on. And I think this point is known to the Nigerian state. Law reform committees have been set up, and I'm aware that even the current Attorney General of the Federation is looking into that issue. He has convened several gatherings of eminent persons within the judicial sector in a bid to improve the criminal administration of criminal justice system in Nigeria. So I think this is an issue that we must give prominence, we must strengthen if we're going to address the challenges that are happening at the moment in Nigeria.
Ola in Abuja. Good morning to you, sir. Or it might be a lady. Good morning, Ola in Abuja. Okay, so I understand.
Has been threatened. I think it will help. Has been threatened. I think it will help in the fight against banditry and criminality. Let me give you an example. In Zamfara State, some bandit accomplice bring an end to this issue of banditry. So it's another way, way also.
A ratio. It might be 20% non-kinetic. It might be 20% non-kinetic. It might be 50% non-kinetic. It might be 50% non-kinetic. It might be 60% non-kinetic, and it might be 60% non-kinetic, and the rest being conventional. Kinetic.
Recruit. You also have
kinetic.
Recruit. You also have a situation where in certain parts of recruit, you also have a situation where in certain parts of the country, women are not included, as it were, in virtually everything. And so that's another population that can be exploited. And as we're seeing, they're being exploited. Add to that this.
And I want to thank you very much, both of you gentlemen. And I want to thank you very much, both of you gentlemen, for contributing to the concept that we have. And it was interesting for me to learn that the recommended ratio is 20% kinetic.
80% less fat than traditional fryers, requiring little to no oil. What's the secret? Fry food oil. What's the secret? Fry food using superheated air, giving you that irresistible crispy texture without basket. Stainless steel rotisserie fork, stainless steel food handle. That's 50,000 naira in savings on these accessories. Completely free. Incredible. And that is still not all. Call the number on your screen now or scan the QR code to order the CookX air fryer oven.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security. We are continuing our coverage of the rest of.
Bola Tinubu is